Hello, everyone. Today, I have a special guest, Will, and we talked about his big leap from architecture to blockchain, specifically in stacks, why fixing money with Bitcoin excites him so much, and why he feels a bigger focus on design is so desperately needed in the Web3 space. He also talked about the practices that he does, like yoga and swimming, that help him keep a clear head, especially in the fast-moving space of technology and Web3. This conversation was so lovely. I hope you connect with what was shared and with Will. Let's dive in. Hi, Will. Welcome to Unraveling Crypto.
Hey, Vane. How are you?
Good. I am so excited to have you here.
Well, thanks for having me. This is really excited to be a part of.
Yeah, I just want to give everyone a little bit of information. When I first came up with the idea, you're one of the first persons that I reached out to. And your feedback was just so supportive. And I just really want to shout you out and just say how much I appreciate you for the words of encouragement and just in general, all the support that you've been giving me and to make this happen.
Uh, this is a perfect fit for you. Your energy is going to come through just perfectly, and I'm really excited to see you start this journey.
Thank you. So before we get started, I like to get the conversation going with what are you grateful for right now?
Well, I'm grateful for my partner, grateful for my health, grateful to have made what I a year ago would have considered to have been an amazing escape from a career that I was fairly unhappy in. So I'm in a much better place just in terms of what I'm doing for a living right now. And so that was a big kind of I guess step into the unknown that I was really afraid to take, but it was with my partner Farah's constant urging that I had to go and do this. So I'm really, I'm really grateful for that.
Mm. So can you share with us a little bit about you and what you do so the community knows?
Yeah. I'm the grants program manager at the Stacks Foundation. And so the Stacks Foundation, short for the Stacks Open Internet Foundation, it's a nonprofit that is meant to support the sort of development of open source technology on and supporting the Stacks network. And Stacks is a cryptocurrency powered decentralized blockchain protocol that has a security relationship with Bitcoin, and so it brings smart contracting applications and smart sort of expressive smart contracting potential and opportunities to Bitcoin. And so, yeah, like through that, you know, these foundations are really, really fascinating and really interesting because it's a decentralized ecosystem or community, and there's a treasury, but there's no I guess, organizational structure that is hiring people and allocating funds, behind certain projects and certain initiatives. And so you just have to engage the community and listen to the community and create an open dialogue with them that allows the community to sort of indicate what they feel they want to build and uh, more importantly understand what the community wants to support and then try to foster that growth. And so, you're just exposed to a lot of new and interesting things because you never know what ideas people are going to bring your direction in terms of a project that they're looking to have funded. And so, yeah, it's really challenging in terms of just trying to understand the technology and stay ahead the trends within the space, like as you go, because grants are kind of like the leading edge, I would
Yeah.
suppose, for development in a community like this.
Yeah. So before we dive deep in any Web3 talk, what's your superpower? Like that thing that comes to you the most effortlessly?
Uh, I suppose um, finding the critical path is, I suppose, my superpower. I was an architect for a long time, and architecture is like a very organic process, and it's very collaborative, but it's also um, very schedule driven, and there are approvals that you have to go through, and so you're always needing to figure out like the minimum number of steps that it takes to get from A to B, and there's lots of little steps in between, and so just really trying to um, you know figure out like what the critical path is. I suppose
Yeah.
it's not a very exciting superpower, but
Well, this is the thing. Everyone I always says like the superpower is like this magical thing, but it's actually the thing that you just do easiest and comes to you the most natural and like it's the most people say I don't know what it is, but it's like you do it every day, almost every day, because that's
yeah,
how natural it is. And I think that's really powerful because a lot of people probably would say like they go astray and finding like the path that needs to go. It's like the one with that you just know you need to go and do. So tell us about your. You were mentioning that you left your job. You made a transition, like a pivot, a year ago. Where were you then, and what really made you? What was the catalyst for you to make the shift?
yeah. I was like I said, I was an architect. I was actually I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska, and I was practicing there. I live in Chicago now, but it was architecture was just always like this love hate relationship through studying and practicing it. It's a very project driven and deadline driven experience, and so with that just comes like a lot of stress and very, at least for me personally, very high highs and low lows in terms of like the adrenaline that gets you like through the deadline, and then sort of the letdown after the deadline. And really it was I don't know, I just felt like um, the profession, like a lot of professions anymore, was quite extractive, and it was just sort of always wanting, you're just working harder to just like produce the same amount of what you were expected to do a year ago in a shorter amount of time. And so it was it didn't feel like the next 20 years were going to be nearly as interesting as the first 20 years. I felt like I had kind of um, accomplished a fair amount, and felt like it was time for a change. I do think that there are like intangibles that you learn doing a job, and I was, I guess, wise enough to see that those intangibles could be applied elsewhere. So,
And what got you into Web3?
um, my partner, she's a front end engineer, and she works in the space also, and really like she didn't get into Web3 all that much earlier than I did. I suppose, stumbled into the space just really like falling in love with Bitcoin first. Um, Bitcoin is a very it's a gateway drug for a lot of people, and it just kind of it's this whole big ball of yarn that if you're used to like getting something pretty quickly, and then you either encounter something that you don't get right away and you're either turned off by it or you're intrigued by it and you want to get it. And so I guess the deeper that we dug, the more that we realized was there. And there was kind of like all of these underlayers that like historical and philosophical and geopolitical and a lot of different things that get intertwined into money. And really, I had never thought about questioning money. And yeah, I think that you could actually, there's a strong correlation between how I was becoming a little disillusioned with how I was spending my time and what I was getting paid to do, which is like the expression of your value
Mm-hmm.
is what you get paid, and then learning about Bitcoin and understanding like um, just a little bit more about those connections. Kind of it all came together and snapped or clicked.
So, what captivated you most? Like, what was the thing that you were like, oh, I love, like, I really want to learn more?
Um, I suppose just you know understanding that um, the underlying technology of blockchain is much bigger than Bitcoin or any one of these cryptocurrencies, and so it wasn't really until I took a course online, just like a Coursera course where you learn about blockchain and how blockchain could have an impact on business in general and the world, and really think about um, you know everything that could be sort of transmitted across the internet in terms of like that has like some amount of values stored to it can be disrupted or influenced or possibly improved um, by blockchain. And so it wasn't really until I started to learn about the underlying technology a bit more that it all started to click. And then you can sort of port your understanding of those concepts from one project to the other, and then you begin to like build a more like granular mental map of all of these different projects and why one is important and another one's not, or promising and another one's not. So yeah, until then it just all felt like very confusing and taunting and like this giant wall of like token names coming at you.
Yeah. And what was like what got you into stacks? Like where did that connection start?
um I suppose just really the first time this is going to sound like total fanboy, but just the first time I heard Muneeb give a lecture, I'm not going to lie. Uh, it, it was, I forget it. It was while the project was still called Blockstack. I think it was from 2018. And yeah, I mean, it was just like a very elegant, simple, impassioned conversation about a decentralized internet and how smart contracts how smart contracts could empower that, and if smart contracts are going to settle to a blockchain, um, you might as well have them settle on the blockchain that's been around the longest and has the highest probability of being around, longer than any others, and is what I would consider to be the most safe and decentralized blockchain that there is.
There's so much to learn about even like well stacks and Bitcoin, but where would you recommend someone to get started? What resources or where should they go?
Yeah, I would recommend the Coursera class. It was free. It's this gentleman named Don Tapscote, and I forget his son's name, but they're two entrepreneurs and educators from Canada, and they actually um, wrote a pretty forget the name of it, but it was a pretty seminal book on blockchain technology back in like 2014 or 13. So they, by most measures, they've been in the space for quite a long time, and it was just a very it was a very accessible entry point into beginning to know about the technology and learn about the technology, and just having like some real world context to begin to like help demystify things and make them a bit clearer was really helpful for me. That and you know you just podcasts like this, and there's you know a lot of podcasts that you know are really a lot of style, but not much substance. So it's well worth the effort to like find the ones that have a bit more meaningful conversations that will help you understand these topics.
Yeah. And why would like why is stacks perhaps the way to what why would stacks be like one of the best ways to learn or to be a part of a community when you first enter?
Um, I think that Stacks it's at a really it's at a really critical point right now, or really welcoming point right now, where it's uh, big enough to have like kind of like all of the basics of any decentralized community, NFT marketplaces, DAOs, DeFi protocols, has its own smart contracting language, um, has a relationship to Bitcoin, and so you really kind of you start to really think about store value, and you also start to think about smart contracts, and so rather than just relying on like any one particular protocol to like solve all of your problems, I think that there is something uh, I feel like to be said, and I think will be recognized more and more that decentralized technology and Web3 is going to be built in layers. And so Stacks, like I was saying, it's small enough to have all of these, or it's large enough to have all of these capabilities and components, but it's small enough to where it's still quite accessible, at least from my point of view, to where you can get into the Discord server, you can meet people, you can get onto Twitter and dialogue with folks, jump on Twitter Spaces, and I would say, pretty quickly, like um, meet some actual people and develop a bit of a network in terms of uh, people that are friendly enough to answer questions and help you get unstuck and are excited enough to go on that journey with you. So,
Yeah, I mean, I would have to say like I when I first came in like a year ago, I would message people on Twitter and they would just be really nice and help me or even when I was on Twitter like answer questions to yeah, like answer the questions that I had and that perhaps most people were afraid because I'm non-technical really and I think that the community just like really does foster a lot of warmth and support no matter like what you do. Um, so for me, that's one of the reasons that I really have loved Stacks. And I would, and like, even when you contact some people, they're like, okay, just pick a time in the calendar and like, let's chat. And I found that to be really unique from coming from like Web 2 or something like that. You really wouldn't do that as easily.
what? Let me ask you, what was your entry point into Stacks? First time we met was when we were both mods with the Crash Course
Yeah.
launch. What was your story to get to that point?
Oh, thank you for asking. I got in because my boyfriend, he like also took a course and they were talking about stacks and he started talking about stacks. And I've heard of Bitcoin. I had opened a wallet and Ethereum and all those things, but there was just something he got involved with stacks and then I got involved in then Crash Punks was coming out and I had no idea about NFTs and I got into the Discord. I started learning about it and then I saw that Grace was looking for mods, and I I was like, there's no way I could get like a job here because the way that I learn is by experience and by doing it and going all in. And I really loved Crash Punks, what was like the sneak peeks that they were showing the NFTs. And Grace, I resonated with her because of the art that she was creating, and she was really into mindfulness and neuroscience. And I felt like that connected with my background very well. And I applied. I had experience in partnerships and marketing and events. So the skills were transferable and I just began to learn. And that's how I got in.
Yeah, I
What about you? Tell us
well,
about how you got started with Crash Funks.
with Crash Bunks, yeah, I mean, I had quit my job and I really had no idea of what I was going to be doing, and so I was just like you, I'm going to just dive in. I need to get involved and learn by doing, and I suppose that yeah, I was following the project and following other NFT projects, and I knew that just I was spending time in the Civita Guild Discord and the Stacks
Mm,
Discord, and so I was learning a bit about Discord and to begin with, but also just people in the community and how important moderators are in these communities and being able to answer questions and build community and yeah, got in on the first call and just saw like all of the ideas that were coming together behind the
mhm.
scenes and the people that we were going to be working with and uh, yeah, I was just thrilled to be involved.
Yeah. And what got you like how did the connection start to form to to join the foundation?
Yeah, probably. I think it was right around that time when we were starting being mods on Crash Punks. I saw Brittany post a job posting on Twitter for the grant program manager, and I just jumped at it. I literally I hadn't applied for a single job. I had no intentions of applying for a job. I really had no idea what I was going to be doing, but I was content just having some time off from work and trying to figure it out. And I saw that and I read the job posting. And I guess coming back to like that superpower of critical path, and also I have a lot of experience just doing mentorship. And that's a big part of an architect's journey or the process of becoming an architect is being an apprentice under someone and then mentoring people. And yeah, I felt like between my kind of jack of all trades, like a little bit of knowledge in a lot of places when it comes to UX, UI design, product management, technology, um, and you know, just the actual like facilitating of a process like that, I felt like I had a strong shot at getting the job. So I went all in terms of applying and giving Jenny and Brittany the full court press and letting them know just how badly I wanted the opportunity. And I can't thank both of those two enough for giving me a shot.
Yeah, I mean, I no regrets at all because you're an incredible like human being. But I wanted to ask you about like what are you loving most about this space right now?
I think just the relationships that I'm building, yourself, the other ambassadors, the people I work with at the foundation, um, all the grantees, really like it's, I've I've only been in the position for 6 months or so, and I can already tell that uh, those relationships are beginning to, you know, they're starting. And I think that there's going to be a lot of fun watching people grow and mature and sort of level up their skill set with each grant or other type of support um, that they can find throughout the community. And yeah, I think being knowing that I am, uh, I guess, early enough to be like an instrumental part of a community growing, but also not so early that there aren't like some qualified people around that you can reach out to for questions and support is a great place to find yourself in, I think.
Yeah, I mean, your story is quite powerful because you were an architect and you're not necessarily a developer or coder, and I think that a lot of my friends say that the reason they don't get in is because they don't know where they fit. And what would your advice be for those people that say like, I have no experience in this whatsoever? What would your advice be in them getting started or even looking for a job?
Yeah. I mean, every project needs needs management. Every like there's especially in Web3 where it's a celebration of decentralization and there's people working remotely and um, there is um, no degree that's going to prepare you to manage a project like that. It's only going to be learned by doing. And I think that if you come in with some experience managing anything from uh, your own creative efforts to something, a project around your house to like, having been in a professional experience where you manage things, I think that there's opportunities to like really add value in that direction. There's also opportunities to add value with content creation. You know, I think that what's so exciting about Web3 versus Web2 is that the product consumer relationship, you know, just used to be like this very top down, uh, unidirectional uh, relationship. And, really like it's just way more collaborative. It's bi-directional. There's every opportunity to not only participate in, but also contribute to the things that you're interested in. And everyone's looking to learn and we're everyone's iterating and ideating like as fast as they can to sort of uh, train our collective algorithm about like how to best align incentives between the people that build things, use things, manage things, design things, contribute to things. And so really like if you're going to hone in on some, you know, like strong outcomes of that, you need um, participants from all of those walks of life, I think.
Yeah, and what would you say is missing most, or what are the areas of growth in Web3 right now?
Everything. I mean,
We need everything
definitely,
and everyone.
yeah, everything and everyone. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people hiring for technical and non-technical positions. I think that if it you could be on the very far technical end of the spectrum, and there's a lot of need, and then you know way more on the management side or administration side, and I think that there's a lot of need and everything in between. Um, yeah, I think I have a bias towards design, and I really do think that design is needed desperately. Um, Bitcoin, like, you know, the next billion users, or to get from 200 million users to a billion users, it's it's not a name brand recognition problem. It's a user experience problem, and it's the ability to communicate these complicated concepts to someone in a way that feels as easy as turning on your brand new iPhone and getting the iOS set up and having your preference set, and away you go. So I think that the real magic is going to happen because it needs to be that easy and that straightforward. But um, the security and um, the security uh, profile, or I guess expectation of what the user is responsible for, is quite different. And so that's either going to be solved through, a series of technological improvements, could be like facial recognition or biometrics, or, utilizing that technology for verification, or it's going to be just a much more welcoming way to like educate people on how to secure their own, you know, their own assets, and take care of them and understand what that means, um, and how to do it. So
Yeah.
design.
This design is the way. But what do you, for example, like what do you see crypto or even Web3 or solving on a more macro level?
Um, it's, I don't know. I think that it's like a cliche anymore. You hear people say like, fix the money, fix the world, but
Mm,
I really believe it. I really do. I
me
think
too.
that the the implications of, not to sound radical, but the implications of kind of unraveling, if you will, money and state, not even to like totally like, the dollar is gone, or fiat
Yeah.
currency is gone, but just having a healthy competition and having an option, and knowing that um, there needs to be more accountability, and I guess real thought that goes into how money is created and spent and
Mm.
transferred. And yeah, so I could go deeper into that, but I think that, yeah, there's essentially like money and value is the base layer for all social, you know,
Yeah.
interaction. And so really the ceiling, there is no ceiling. You can't even imagine the things that this technology can't uh, disrupt or improve or innovate.
Yeah, I think my community is going to love this answer because we all feel very much the same.
Yeah,
So there's a saying that like time in crypto is like 3 times, 10 times faster than normal.
yeah.
What do you do to
The
stay sane?
interstellar effect.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. What do you do to like self care and just stay sane in such a fast paced world?
Yeah. I We try to exercise every day, and really, it's like, I think just the mode of exercise that you do can help tremendously. Like, um, really, I swim and I do yoga, and I think just having a period of time where you're not, you're notification free, and you're like in a space to where, like when you swim laps, you really have no devices connected to, it's essentially fairly quiet, and you just hear the sounds of water, and there's something about that for me just kind of like slows down time a bit, and it's almost a little primal in terms of it just like reconnects you to nature ever so slightly. And then also with yoga, like really just trying to better understand your, they call it proprioception, which is like your understanding of your own body in space and like
Mm-hmm.
balance essentially. And so just trying to get through a class or a new position or sequence or whatnot where you're having to, um, you know, be mindful of how every part of your body is positioned in space, I think is a very therapeutic thing.
Yeah. Do you see like yoga and swimming affect you in other areas of your life or impact it?
It makes me way more calm and euphoric afterwards. And so that's good. And it also, uh, you know, it also helps with that critical path thing I was talking about. Like, if you wake up and I've actually been doing this a little bit recently with some of the projects that we're working on behind the scenes, but just waking up and sitting down and going to work, you don't have the same clarity, and you don't have the same, you know, ability to like kind of take all the pieces and only see the ones that you really need to focus on, and separate fact from fiction. And so you'll wake up. If I don't swim, you're just kind of like um, moving through the day with urgency, and just kind of like spastically like trying to like like get things uh, sort of address one emergency after another. And I think that with having that period of time where you just kind of like recalibrate and reset, and all the noise kind of goes away, and then you just see the like couple of things that you really need to take care of, and you can set them in a prioritized order, and then you can just move forward. I find I can get like a day's worth of work done in like 4 hours when I approach my day that way.
Yeah, yeah. We need to do this more because I feel like we all know this, but yet sometimes it's so challenging to put into practice. Um, Before we go, I want to do a lightning round, and it's just a series of
Okay.
questions that I'm going to ask you, and just try to answer them as concise and fast as possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite book?
The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand.
One piece of advice. Oh, I can't talk. One piece of advice the world needs to know right now.
To stop watching TV.
Your go-to drink?
Hop infused sparkling water.
Ooh, I like that too. One thing you can't stand.
Um, one thing I can't stand, uh, violence, I guess.
Mm, yeah. And what do you love most about yourself?
I suppose a willingness to iterate.
Mm. Oh, that's so powerful. Well, thank you so much for being here. It was just a beautiful conversation. I think a lot of people are going to feel inspired by you to just know that you can come into a new space, whether even it is Web3 or not. Like you can always change and iterate and pivot, and it just gets better. But before you go, the last question is like, what's one piece of advice that you can give anyone that wants to get it started? Where can they go, or yeah, like where can they go?
Uh, I would say go to the grants channel in the Stack server, and that's where you're going to meet people that are willing to help support you and give you that chance and talk through, um, like help you figure out, okay, what is a project that I could take on,
Mm,
and you never know. Maybe you get some support to do it. If not, you at least uh, get pointed in a direction. We don't like to be
yeah,
the dead end for anyone. So
yeah. And where can people hang out and play with you online?
you can find me on Twitter at Corcoran Will, CorcoranWill, or will.btc is probably an easier way to find me.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
we'll link it all in the show notes.
yeah. This was awesome,
Awesome.
Monet. Thank you very
Mm,
much, and I love the format, and I can't wait to see this project grow.
yeah. Thank you, Will.